Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 427. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Happy New Year.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year 2.
Part 2.
So I forgot to mention Ghostbusters 2 last night. We watched that. But whatever. Anyways, welcome everyone to the Gamecast 427, the first of 2019. Welcome to 2019. Happy New Year to all of our listeners and viewers, to everybody. And you guys, podcasters, Happy New Year, guys. I saw these two. Tony couldn't make it out. Obviously, that's a hell of a trek for you for New Year's party. But Mike and Corey were over last night, so I got to see those. But we watched a bunch of movies, played some Cards Against Humanity, and it's funny. I brought up the Super Nintendo Classic to play, and we just never got it. We never got it going. You know what it is? It's the controller cords are so short that nobody wants to stand that close to a TV. So I have to go get extension cables.
Or that you could just get a really long HDMI cable.
But you still need an outlet then too. You need a long power cable too.
You could power that with just like a external power source.
Battery. My Switch battery charger. That would probably do it. That would do it. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Okay, yeah, that opens up the doors. So, anyways, welcome to the Gamecast, everyone. We have some interesting news this week. It's lighter news. It's the holidays, so we didn't have a podcast last week, but I grabbed a couple things which we can talk about, and then we should have a little bit of a topic here. With
Mike, it's like you're in one of those interviews that you don't want it to show who you are. Like I feel like you're still.
Let me see if we get on screen. Yeah, he's down right there.
I don't have my secondary light. It burnt out. So
okay.
I just need something bright. I guess
change your voice and everything, so that way.
Here.
There we go.
Turn on an empty Google page. There we go.
Okay, there we go. So, anyways, so we have some news this week to talk about. We have a bit of just a small topic to this week about backwards compatibility in our future consoles. Is it necessary? Do we need it? So we'll talk about that. Let's get into the news first, or let's get into what I've been up to first. I'm sorry, it's been 2 weeks. I will say I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It is slow. I actually today went onto their store to just see what the XP booster costs, and I'm like, it's like $20 for that thing. It's $19.99 to get the credits to buy that. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's a permanent, XP boost and money boost by 50%. Everything you kill gives you 50% more XP and 50% more money. And I'm like, it's interesting. Like, I don't necessarily need that, but I'm like, if it went on sale, I might think about it more. I'm like, I don't know. It's too expensive right now, $20.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The Assassin's Creed Odyssey price to get the level up bonus thing that they want you to buy.
Easy mode.
You don't have to buy.
Easy mode.
It's slow. It is slow. I don't know. It's not that I need it. It's that it's slow that I don't want to spend 80 hours on the game.
Sounds like a design flaw.
No, it sounds like a type of game Jim won't like.
It's not bad. I'm actually enjoying it. I love the universe, the atmosphere. I'm sorry, what they built us, the world. I do love that. The characters. I was telling Mike this last night. The characters. I'm playing as Cassandra. And she's like the most popular character to play as in this, and that's why I picked her. But I'm like, I can't get past her arms are so veiny that I'm like, I can't. She's got like biceps that are just huge, and I'm just like, she just looks weird to me. I'm just like, it's the veiny thing that's just bothering, like the blue veins on her arm. See the vein here? See this vein? She's got them all over her, and they pronounced blue. I'm just like, I can't stop seeing it every time they go to a cutscene. I'm just like, oh, it's like they just pasted. She's like a bodybuilder, but she's not, and it's just like I don't like. It just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't fit the character. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't fit. So I'm just like, now her vocal work is fantastic. This actress, the voice actress that played her, it's excellent. And
she got nominated, I think.
Yeah, I mean, she deserves it. It's fantastic. And I do like the story so far, and I like the world, like I said, a lot. I wish that the combat was a little bit smoother. I think it's a little clunky, but I think it's more based on stealth than for combat, anyways. This game, so that is what it is. But that's why I'm playing that. And what else? I didn't really play much else. I've been watching a lot more stuff. So, I played I played the Choose Your Own Adventure, Bandersnatch on Netflix. I didn't finish it yet though. I just played. It's funny because like I was talking before we started this. It's like, how has this not been done with Blu-ray and DVD before? Like, how have they not taken it? Like, how's this not niched out like a section of itself?
Yeah.
I think that Netflix innovation, man.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they just were worried to do this, I guess. Like, it just makes sense with chapter designs and stuff. You can easily skip around to different parts of the story depending on what people choose. And, you know, this I've been reading on this.
Minecraft was the first thing that came out that did it on Netflix, too. So.
Yeah, they did on Netflix with that, and I played that a little bit, too. So it's interesting the way that the choices come up on this screen, though. It's like a bigger screen, and then you see it get narrower. So to come, like, it wide screens the picture. So you know, like, your choice is coming up, and then it's like, do you want to have Frosted Flakes or Cocoa Puffs? I don't remember what they were, whatever. It's an example of something, and that's a choice. I don't know what path you go down by picking the other one there, but, you know, so it's like, it's interesting. Like, replayability looks cool. The movie's actually pretty good. I like the acting so far. It looks great. And it reminds me, I used to love Choose Your Own Adventure stories, those books in the library. I used to love reading those. So it kind of brings back that nostalgia to me that I used to love as a kid. And it's cool. I do like that. I would like to see more of this with different, you know, I'm not a big Black Mirror universe fan. I mean, I watched the Star Trek spoof thing, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not a big Twilight Zone kind of person, really. It's cool, but I'd like them to do this with other things. That's all I'm saying. So
I'm sure they will. It's way too popular for them not to do it.
Yeah, and people are loving it. So
you didn't watch what was that other thing?
Bird Box. No, it's games. Bird Box. No, they keep trying.
Oh my god, I've never seen anything pushed so hard in my life.
I know. Amanda has heard about it. She's like, what's this Bird Box thing? I'm like, how have you heard about this? And she's like, it's everywhere. I'm like, oh my, the marketing, it's doing its job. You can't say it's not doing its job. Everybody's talking about it. I haven't seen it yet though. But anyways, that's what I've been playing. Mike, what have you been playing?
So I had gotten to the point in Red Dead where I was just wandering around. I literally was looking for treasures, even though I had more money than I would ever be able to spend in the game. So when the holidays came around, I got 3 new games from 3 different people, and so I got a Switch finally.
Yeah. One of us.
Yeah, it's confusing at first.
It's different. Yeah,
it's all these little pieces here and there, and then you have to switch grips, and I definitely need new controllers because I can't stand it right now.
The Pro Controller is very good.
But it's So I'm playing Mario Odyssey, Smash Brothers, and then on my other systems I got Soul Calibur 6.
Nice. Oh, nice. I definitely want to play that game, especially after. Oh, I forgot. I played WWE 2K19. It's horrible. No, but that's one that you reminded me when you said Soul Calibur 6. I'm like, I chose poorly, and I should have chosen that game. I really wanted to play that game. But go on. Sorry.
Yeah, Soul Calibur 6. It's okay. It's pretty good. It feels a lot like the older games, and I do enjoy the creative fighter thing. They have a couple different versions of the story mode, and I would say that it's way more fleshed out. Like, instead of doing a typical arcade, they sort of have very limited story around all the characters as they go.
I think the same guy that kind of was part of the Tekken story stuff is doing this game.
Yeah.
And then you have one version where you have a created character where it tries to be a little more like a quest style open world thing with like all these text box talking to you back and forth. So, I mean, it's interesting, but it actually reminds me a bit of Smash now that I'm playing that. The World of Light is very similar to what Soul Calibur 6's Libra Souls mode is. And they're both okay. They're not quite as engaging as I hoped as far as the single-player content goes. But
it's hard to beat that Injustice.
I mean, it's just like there's a lot of... the fights get real short, and then, like, you have to just scroll through a lot of text and you just get to a fight. And sometimes it's interesting and sometimes it isn't. So, I don't know. We'll see. I want to get deeper in them. Honestly, the one game of those 3 I've been playing the most is Super Mario Odyssey.
Great game. Great game.
And I've actually been playing it recently, the 2-player mode, which is an interesting experience in its own right. Because I actually wanted to join in, so she's Cappy. And
it makes it harder. You know that, right?
It does.
Well, no, there's 2 things about it. It makes it easier as far as like she can just like be. It reminds me a lot of Sonic and Tails and the old Sonic games.
Sure, like fighting enemies and stuff makes it easier, but getting to where you want to go is
fight all the enemies. But then it's just sort of like literally fighting over the camera constantly.
Navigation,
and,
I can't handle this right now.
yeah, and we're using the little like sideways things, so it's not ideal.
Yeah.
But and of course she yells at me when I die now because she doesn't realize
it's your fault. It's not her fault.
No, she's Cappy. She can't die. She's invincible.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, just swap with her. Just let her be.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But no, it's fun. So we're into that. That's what we've been doing, actually, the most of those. So yeah, lots of new stuff. Although nothing is quite grabbing me like those long single-player games that I played leading up to this. So I might get into that Assassin's Creed in a little bit.
Cool.
But in the summer, I was very bored with the previous game, so I don't know how soon I want to jump into that. So we'll see.
Okay. All right, Corey. Oh, you're drinking. I'll call you on you while you take a drink.
Yeah, I fell back into that Diablo grind.
I've been noticing that a lot lately. It's like
it's in my cart. It's in my cart on GameStop because
it was on sale.
Trade some games in. I know. I think I still get advertisements. It's $10 off right now. It's not.
Either way, thing is, I had it on the cart. I'm like, I am done with carts, and they had like GameStop had a deal. You got 25% off or 25% extra trade in. So I actually traded in a couple Switch stuff, which included Diablo, so I could buy it digitally.
Yes,
so I didn't have to
love
worry
it.
about it. So yeah, I've been playing that a lot, and I really do like the seasons aspect to it because it does give you. So you started off like, and I never really did the seasons. You start off the season where they give you challenges to complete, and then different tiers. And if you complete the first 4 tiers, you get like a complete set of armor that give you bonuses to what the character you're doing on, and then from there on you get more like cosmetic type rewards and things like that, and just like bragging rights type of things. And it's just so much fun, like looting and
I know. I remember just like I when I get it, I can't wait. I'll just hopefully we'll have to test out the chat at that point.
What's interesting though is like I play it, I just leave it on public, and like I had people joining me all the time, constantly, just joining the game. So and it's fine. Like I don't need to talk. I'll just do my own thing, and it's actually nice because the bounties you can just do all the bounties. Like each person goes to different places and just get the bounties done in like no time at all. So. Cool. It's been a lot of fun and just coming up with new builds. And I had not played the Necromancer before, and so just playing with the Necromancer has been a lot of fun, figuring out the different techniques and skills and stuff to use. So yeah, just really been on that a lot. It's a lot of fun, and it's like quick, easy, pick up and play for a few minutes or an hour, 3 hours. And it's like one of those things. And of course, play some more Destiny.
Oh, of course. So, best version of that game ever. That's what I keep hearing. So
it's better. It's never been better. I guess.
Never been better. Yes, that's the best way to say it.
PvP, then it's been way better before.
Yeah. So
the PvP is terrible.
Yeah. Well, I have lost control of my mouse. So
nice.
Switching
what have you been
manually.
Up to, Tony?
What have you been up to, Tony?
Let's see. Game wise, I've been switching a lot around actually lately.
Switch.
Yeah, so 2B came out for Soul Calibur 6, the DLC.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I tried her out a little bit, and she's just so fun to play. Because they really did like an amazing job capturing her details and essence, and incorporated that into a fighting moveset, which is one of the things I just love that about the Soul Calibur team. And it definitely totally feels like one of those like the Link situation from Soul Calibur 2, where just like, you have guns and projectiles and all this stuff, and you're just like, how is this even fair? Like, you're fighting some dude with like nunchucks, and it's like you pull out like a robot plasma cannon. It's like, what is he supposed to do against that? Like, a block button does not help against that, dude. I'm sorry.
No.
And stuff. But it's just it's really fun. I'm hoping to get back to that. Like Mike said, the single player is pretty decent. In terms of making you feel engaged and having a lot of stuff to do with different characters and whatnot. So other than that, still playing Smash. Just a quick aside, I got really tilted the one day. The way they do their online system definitely needs a rework. Because I'm trying to get into the Elite Smash, which I think is like top 10% or top 5%, something like that. with like your global smash power. So every time you win a match, you get global smash power, and every time you lose a match, you lose it. But the way the online system works is like you set your own preferences for a match, like lives versus stock, or stock versus like time, what kind of stages, hazards on, hazards off, items on, items off. If it's 2-player, like 1v1, or like 4-player free for all, and then you basically have a percentage chance to have yours picked. And if you don't, it's usually another opponent. But the thing is, some people are just rigging it to be like so stupid, where it's like they'll pick a character that's really fast and then turn items on and then make it so their preferred stages are like big stage where they can just run around and like pick up items and just, you know, just like, oh, I'll pick up the Pokeballs or the assist trophies. And you can't do shit because you weren't expecting to play on one of these big stages, and I'm just going to get all the overpowered things, so you can't do shit. And just like, really? Like, okay, all right, like I see how this is going to go. But beating some of those people has been more rewarding than a regular battle. But it's fun. Played a bit more Mario Party, and I remember why that game is so triggering. Like, this one is so bad in terms of like, it does feel like the older Mario Parties, Jim, in terms of like how shit can just like happen to you. Like, really? Happen to you out of nowhere. Like, I was solidly in the lead until the second to last turn in the game. It just fucked me consistently, and just like, oh, I went from first to last. Literally, I went from first to last in the last 2 rounds of the game. Just like, what the hell? Like, god damn it, man. Like, oh god, it's so disgusting. So played a little bit of that, and cool. Haven't had a chance to play it, but I did download Into the Breach.
Oh, I heard that was on sale. Yeah, I heard that was excellent.
So I'm hoping to play that. That'll probably be my last new game before we do our of the year list. We'll see if it can make the list.
Yeah,
story-wise, it's actually really interesting.
That's
yeah, I thought so at least.
Okay,
I like what they did with it.
Yeah.
I haven't played much on the surface, but
no, I want to get that too. But because as a pre-podcast, I was mentioning the fact that I logged into newegg.com for the first time in like 4 years today to start to look at computer parts. So the draw it's kind of there.
What's the breach? I mean, it's $10. Was it still $10? I don't know if it's still $10.
It was $10 on Steam today. Yeah. Oh, on Switch, really? Oh, cool. So, all right, I'll have to look into that.
So good too.
I'll grab that. I think I still have some credit on Switch from the Flipageddon. I don't know. I probably do. All right. So let's get into some gaming news here. Talk about, well, this was older, but mentioning it on this podcast now. This is 2 weeks ago. The Raimi suit for the Spider-Man Raimi suit finally showed up 2 weeks ago in Spider-Man, thus ending the outcries of fanboyisms everywhere that were so up in arms that they didn't get this suit. They got it as a Christmas gift, essentially, from the studio. Now, there's no way that they ripped that together that quickly in response.
No, it looks too good to be like, it was definitely planned.
Which, again, I think goes to show, like, just have some patience, people. Just relax. Why was the backlash so big? Because,
it's because people didn't get what they wanted when they wanted it. So of course they, it's one thing to complain, but it's another thing to like bitch and harass and basically make people wonder why they're even in this industry. Because I don't know if you guys have been on there.
Entitlement, man.
It is entitlement. Gamer entitlement. I want to do a topic cast of that, but I don't know if you've been on their Twitter at all, but like they've been getting blasted every time they talked about like DLC or anything like that. Just like, where's the fucking Raimi suit? Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other thing. It's like, oh my god.
I want to see the numbers. Like, how many of these people that fucking complain like constantly? Like, how long have they played with this?
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like, everybody was holding out for that last DLC, like the third one or whatever. And then when it was revealed that the Raimi suit wasn't there, then people just lost their shit. And it's like, you fucking dumbasses. The reason it wasn't in DLC 3 is because they wanted to give it away to everybody for free as a freaking Christmas gift. And you guys just fucking ruined it.
You ruined a Christmas
gift. A bunch of babies. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's zero chance it wasn't planned. You don't whip something together that quickly. It was completely planned as a Christmas gift the whole time.
I did see it. I played with it a little bit, and it does look pretty good. So, I mean, there it is. It's fine.
It looks amazing. And there's actually, I think it was on Twitter or Reddit, so one of the two, somebody went around New York City and recreated a lot of scenes from the Raimi trilogy with the Spidey suit, and you're just like, wow, that's really cool, actually, and stuff.
Cool. Other news we have PlayStation Classic bombing massively, hard.
Massively.
That was you were able to get that for $35 last week from Target at some point, and still couldn't pull the trigger on that myself.
No.
What was crazy is I went there yesterday, and they had a free gift card on it with it as well, and so I'm like, wait, is the coupon still working? So I checked the cartwheel. If it was $35 with like a $15 gift card, that had me.
But $20 impulse.
But they didn't honor that, so I was like, okay, then I'm all right. I still don't.
It's like, this is the one I'm going to take this off your hands. All right.
Yes. The fact that there were 6 of them in Target at that point. I'm like, this is it's just not moving, and it deserves it. They half-assed that console so badly.
It's better than what you get from like these third-party manufacturers just throwing out like these.
Yeah, you might as well just go buy and spend less money because this launched at $100. So that's
I thought it was more than $100.
I thought it was $99.99. Yeah, $99.99 it was, and it's just a terrible effort. So it is bombing.
I can't believe how bad. Like, it's one thing because usually whenever you see stuff like, oh, it's like running at the PAL hertz,
that's
whatever.
The problem.
Well, no, I mean for us, like people that are into the know and whatnot, like we follow that stuff.
Yeah,
we're gonna know. But like, usually the classic systems have been like wide, like mass appeal. Like, oh, I had a PlayStation when I was a teenager or whatever like that. Let me just pick this up or something like that. But like for this to have gotten that bad, where like the general public doesn't want it, like that the word of mouth is just so like toxic for this thing, and it sounds because I remember when we talked about it, I was like, it doesn't even matter how like what the games are. It doesn't matter. Like they're just gonna sell whatever they can produce in time for Christmas season. And look how wrong that was because wow, you fucked it up. Like the initial release was the highest point of like word of mouth for that because they're like, oh my god, PlayStation's gonna do it, this and the other thing, and they tease like 5 games, and those are the 5 best games. The next time it was like, oh, these are the other games. It's just like, okay, and then it's like, oh, by the way, half of them are the European frame rate and all this. Like, what?
Yeah, like, they actually run slower than everybody remembers.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the worst version of
the game. The deal just keeps getting worse, man. It keeps just getting worse.
So, yeah.
Girls never came.
We've got Activision charging $1 to add a dot to the crosshairs for Black Ops 4 in the micro. Isn't that crazy? Like, I just put that on here because I think it's just crazy.
I forgot to mention that. I did actually play a new Call of Duty.
Oh,
nice.
Wow. What do you think?
It feels fun, actually. Mind you, I haven't played a Black Ops or a Call of Duty game since
Black Ops
2. Yeah, probably Black Ops 2 or something like that. And it's fun. It's one of those games where it's such a king of its genre that it's kind of hard to, go away from that, try these other games, and come back. You're like, well, why'd I ever leave this in the first place? Because in terms of what it does, I think it definitely still does it the best in terms of like Twitch responsive, like just ridiculous fast gunplay. It's still the best.
Zombie modes, people love the zombie modes.
Yes, and I tried the zombie mode. This is the first zombie mode I tried. I think this is the first one or something. But that is actually really what do I want to?
It's a well done horde mode.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny because I was talking to my brother the other day. He's like, do you ever still play Left 4 Dead? And I was like, no, man. Like that game is so fucking old. I played it to death. Like I love it, but I played it to death. And I was just like, shit, maybe I should get him like, Call of Duty because that zombie mode is fun. It's just
interesting.
I died a lot. I haven't beaten it yet, but
it's interesting. It's fun. I mean, I just think it's really shitty to charge $1 for a dot in your crosshairs. I'm sorry. I just thought that was really shitty.
No, absolutely. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's fine. In other news for Corey.
I'm sorry, really quick. Another thing I wanted to mention because I tried it local multiplayer because they have that. I know, we talk about this. How like, that's an option that's disappearing very quickly from
especially in these games. Yeah.
So not only is there local multiplayer, which is pretty cool, but you can also do bots.
So
me and the lady, we were actually playing team deathmatch with like 4 bots on each side, and it was pretty fun that way. So I was like, wow, that's really funny. I think the last time we talked about this one, Corey.
Yeah, the only reason I got it was
your PS4. You're like, I needed something to play with the wife.
Yeah. So cool.
Apparently, Halo Infinite's got split screen.
I think there was a cry for that for Halo. So
yeah.
All right, Corey, what do you think of this Persona 5 tease from Atlas?
I think it's real.
Is it a Switch?
Confusing.
I have to stick with my guns and say no. But
So yeah, they're teasing.
I doubt it at this point.
Persona 5.
This doesn't make any sense not to bring it to Switch. I mean, everything says bring it to Switch. Like,
I will replay it then. There's no question. The worst part is you get to replay it, and then you get to replay it again on this. Like, I got to play it twice to get the New Game Plus thing going again.
Mm-hmm.
I just know this, and I'm like, although maybe I can you one shoot that? Can you like 100% that with in the first playthrough, Tony? Is it possible?
Yes, you need a guide because
I will guide this because I already finished it.
There are requirements to get, like, you have to plan, like, on this day you have to do this thing and this thing to maximize, like, the growth of, you know.
Okay, so it is possible because I
can't
myself.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it without having someone lay out your specific steps.
I didn't even know it was possible, so now that I know it's possible, I will do it that way.
Right, and plus, usually the remake or whatever, like the deluxe edition. Usually, I think it's easier, or they introduce something to make it.
Maybe New Game Plus is unlocked immediately or something. I don't know.
That would be. I would love that if they just allowed you to start New Game Plus.
Well, I don't know how that would work because it's carryover.
Well,
it's carryover. So how is that?
You're right. Yeah, I don't know.
That won't work.
Assuming there'll be another character like they did with Golden.
Just give you all the persona and everything. Just like go nuts. Just like go through the story.
And lastly, the rumor we have of Super Lucky's Tale appearing, apparently coming to Switch. There's a rumor coming for that. It's an okay platformer.
It's the same thing with Persona. Like, if it's not tied to a system, like, why not put it on the Switch?
Just bring it out.
Switch is selling so well.
So the interesting thing is this is tied to Microsoft. This is the Microsoft title.
You publish it?
It was an exclusive for them. So, yeah. It's very interesting news, as we talked about from our predictions.
Yeah. Now, again, with the caveat, there's an asterisk next to this. This is a rumor, but basically the rumor stemmed from people on LinkedIn putting specifically in their CV or resume, whatever you want to call it, that they worked on the Switch port, Super Lucky Tale, and everybody's like, "Wait a second, that doesn't exist." And
isn't there an Oculus version though?
There is an Oculus version.
Yeah. But they brought it over afterwards. They brought it to their Xbox console afterwards. So the Oculus, I think, is what it actually premiered as, and then it got transferred. All right, let's get into a little mini topic real quick. Mini topic, backwards compatibility. I saw the article before. I'm stealing this from somebody else. We need backwards compatibility in the next generation of consoles. Does it need to be there? Is it going to be there? Probably. But do we need it there?
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
absolutely.
100%.
Okay. Like, now we have this. I'm going to play a little bit. Now, I don't disagree with you guys. In fact, Corey and I have pretty much similar agreements on this, where it's really only in the beginning you need this backwards compatibility. As you get more games later, like, how often do you go back and play these old games? Like, do you guys actually do that? Do you go back? I know when you first got your Xbox, Tony, you mentioned you played,
Geometry Wars
2, as a PC game. But, like, how often do you go back and play your backlog of games, really?
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a backlog, but there are titles which maybe I didn't get around to. Like, is KOTOR backwards compatible?
I think it is, actually. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. And I actually have that downloaded, too.
Oh, and that's an enhanced game?
I never did it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's an enhanced and backwards compatible. Like, I never finished that game.
I know. Every time you say that, I'm like,
exactly. I never finished that game because the original Xbox I had died. So
such a great ending. Such a great ending.
Exactly. So that's enticing to me.
One of the best video game stories ever, in my mind. Stories. So wow. But I mean, I do agree with you guys about the back. I'm trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate with this. Like, it's like I don't disagree with you 100%. Like, I think that you need that.
I think it's more important now than ever, unfortunately. Just with we talked about it before, entitlement and what people expect from their console.
I don't think that's the reason why. No. I think the reason why it's more important is that development cycles. We've had all these issues with these work weeks, and everyone's upset about how hard it is to make like a big game. And when you look at like, oh, it should take like 5 years. Well, that's about the length of a generation now. Yeah. So if you want to like extend that a little bit, or you need to have a new generation being able to play almost all your old previous generation games for a while, or at least, or maybe even all the way through. Otherwise, there's no incentive for people to hunker down and work for a long period of time without being rushed by these generations passing by.
I honestly think that I honestly think these consoles are going the way, like, let's take iPhone goes, where you have support for a long time for the console, for the games and the system. Eventually, though, as patching and updates come through, your older console or your games may not play. Your older games may not play on the new system, which with hardware, I don't know if it can. Maybe it doesn't work that way.
To my point before earlier, I think when I say entitlement and stuff like that, it's like gaming is mainstream now, and there are a lot of people that are buying systems for their kids that don't know anything about them. Yeah. And you get these systems where you give them to the kid, they're gonna want to play games that their friends are playing, and you got this shiny new system that doesn't play anything at all, and their friends are playing Fortnite. That's not gonna fly. Right?
No, right now the thing is, I don't necessarily disagree with you, Corey. I do agree with you, and I would say it's entitlement, but in a little different bit of a way, because with the advent of like the digital purchasing option, I mean, now that the customers are starting to get accustomed to that, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at, because I game on PC as well. If I buy a game on PC, like 99% chance I'll be able to play it another 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Some way or another, I'll be able to play that, especially if it's on Steam. With the consoles, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember me bitching, like how much of a hassle it is to have bought games on the PlayStation 3 store or the Wii U store, and it's like those purchases are just stuck on there now. Like I have like a dozen PlayStation 1 classic games that I'd love to play,
sure,
are just stuck on the PS3, and I don't want to hook that system up.
I just don't know if it's possible with Sony's architecture to do what Microsoft is doing. I just don't know if it's.
I think it can be, especially if they invest in having an emulator.
That's what I was gonna say. It's called emulation. Yeah, it's not like you have to build it into.
But Sony just proved they're not very good at this.
Well, right. That's
there's hardware emulation as well. And the PlayStation 3 originally had that.
Yeah, 3 did have that.
Right? Great. Yeah, it was like that system was like the most popular and most like aftermarket system because it had hardware emulation. Like that's what you do. It's like you don't. And now with software emulation, they can do it. It just
but
effort in.
I mean, the thing is, Sony, as evident by the PlayStation Classic, they don't. And this might be a hot take for people, but I don't think they care about the lineage of their games that much, especially when you compare it to Nintendo, where it's like your PS1 games, like really, like I think we even talked about like the one.
I think there's like
executive or something was like,
there's
who the hell would want to play these games? It's just
who wants to play Gran Turismo 2?
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like there's probably people that still want to play.
I'd love to play Gran Turismo 2. I love that game.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Nintendo, it's like they preserve most of their legacy as much as possible and stuff like that. So for them, it was never a big priority for the emulation stuff. But I'm hoping that because of Microsoft's stance on backwards compatibility, and now that how Nintendo is like, man, we're reaching for the NES Online, on Switch Online in 2019, probably going to bring Super Nintendo and maybe more, hopefully. You can't be the one person, like the one entity, and not have something.
My thing is,
it's a selling feature.
My thing is this though, and this is the next question I had was, let's take the next generation of consoles. Let's take Microsoft's next system. Let's take Sony's, and let's even take future-wise. Let's take Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Who do we honestly think is going to bring future compatibility, like backwards compatibility, 100%? I know Microsoft's going to do it. Do we think Nintendo is
going to be there now in some form for every one of these?
Do you think Nintendo will still, because they love their resells, like they love doing that?
Oh, yeah. It's not necessarily backwards compatibility, but just because it's backwards compatibility doesn't mean they're not selling you those games still. Like,
well, I was saying, but your library, if you buy the library on the Switch, why shouldn't it follow you into the next console?
No, sure, I agree with you there, but I'm just saying you will be able to play old games.
Sure, you will be able to.
On the next
system. Yeah, but you have to rebuy? I'm saying, like, is in BC in my mind.
Question. That's
backwards compatibility in my mind is a game you have. Like, if I have Kirby right now, this should be able to load up on the new system digitally, obviously, because it's probably have a different format. But like what Microsoft's doing with their downloads, like you pop a disc in,
I understand.
And that's it.
You're saying charging you for being able to play an old game on a new system is backwards compatible. That's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Is it? I don't think that's true. I think that's selling you a PS1 classic game on the PlayStation 4 store right now is not backwards compatibility.
No,
why not?
Because you have to buy it again.
But I'm saying, but it's available to play on a newer system, so it's still
available to play. But if you have that game,
the idea behind this,
I see what you guys are saying.
Yeah, the idea behind this is library.
I mean, let's not get tracked. If the question is, I absolutely believe that your Xbox One discs will play in whatever the next Xbox system that has a disc
and 360
drive. Right, yeah. We'll be able to play. Nintendo, unless they pull another Wii U where they're like, hey, we have something good going, we're just gonna fucking do the opposite. Right. Switch you, like fuck it. Like we're 2012 all over again, boys. I mean, it's so hard to not imagine that you couldn't in the next whatever Switch system it is, or Nintendo handheld system, you're not going to be able to find like room for this little tiny cartridge. It's not like a CD drive or a DVD where you have to have that. You know, it's a little cartridge slot. It's
a memory card slot. They're actually So I agree with you. But I think
because the thing is, before Nintendo loves how their games still sell.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. Like Ocarina of Time is how many times?
Right. Well, no, but I mean that doesn't preclude. There's just too many games that they can't possibly always do like a re-release or a remaster or whatever. But even take for instance Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart Wii, I think in the last financial report they reported that they sold like 100,000 units in the last quarter. And just like in 2018, who the fuck is buying Mario Kart Wii?
Yeah,
100,000 people bought it in a quarter, and just like. What?
Well, that's what I think. But Microsoft does that in their store. Don't they have 360 games? All of them are in the store. The ones that are BC, and you can buy them again. You can buy those games, and that's fine. But if I have that game, I should just be able to play it.
Yes,
that's my point.
Yeah, can you do that? Yeah.
You know, Microsoft. I'm saying
as long as it's backwards compatible, you can put the 360.
And what do we think about Sony? Is Sony going to do this?
I think they have to. To be competitive, they have to.
I think they're going to do it. That's the thing.
Well, look at their stance on crossplay. I think they have to.
Yes, I don't disagree, but I don't. It's 50-50 for them.
Again,
really
imagine I made this comparison before, and maybe it won't be 100% as strong since it doesn't look like we're getting the system until 2020 now.
Yeah,
but imagine launching PlayStation 5, and at the time, this is the hottest game. We'll see if it's still. Imagine Fortnite isn't available on PlayStation 5. Like, who's going to upgrade? You know, who's going to upgrade from a PlayStation 4 to a PlayStation 5 if they don't have the hottest game available day one? It's going to be a very hard sell. Like, sure, you'll sell to like a couple million core users who would buy anything, literally anything. As long as
it depends on what's also available. I mean, if you're like saying Last of Us 2, PlayStation 5 exclusive, and you're not getting on 4, then maybe.
Right. And maybe they solve that equation. But I mean, in terms of my own prerogative, the PlayStation 4 was terrible for the first 2 years.
Sure.
I mean, I bought games that were just like whatever. I just want to play something on my new system. Like, what was it? Dragon Age Inquisition. I fucking swore off BioWare, and I was like, this is the only game. And then I'm like, well, I know I swore off BioWare. Like, fuck that game. Fuck that. And then one game of the year in 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition was a game of the year. Go back and play that today. I dare you. Fuck that.
No, that's all right.
You've already played it, Mike.
I have played it, and it's one of those games where it was like the only thing that grabbed me was something that would never grab me in the other games. It was like getting into the crafting. Like, I mean, some of the story stuff was mildly okay, but that year was very empty. I mean, that's probably why I played it as well. There was that and Rocket League, and that's why I like Rocket League. In my mind, still is like, oh, that's a PlayStation game. That's because that's what it was for a while. That was PlayStation Rocket League.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, general consensus obviously they have to have something going forward.
But I agree with both. Mike and Court. Real quick. People want their games to matter because, especially now that we're going digital again, I'll just say that. Like, once you pay $6 for a digital title and you try to tell consumers, like, hey, that's not going to play on the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox 2, wherever the fuck it's going to be called, I think people are like, come again? Yeah, because the Pandora's box has been open for this. Like, we know that people are expecting this to happen and work because this is the way things are working with mobile devices. This is the way exactly. You look at music, you look at movies, like I mean, Apple, right? They even like gave you like 4K versions of you're getting 4K movies now from Apple for the same price, right? Yeah, so it's once the door is open, you can't close it again. So I do expect it. I'm not sure about Sony. I'm really not sure about Sony. I mean, if you had to hold gun to my head, say which of these three is most likely to not have backwards compatibility, I would say Sony without a question. But I just think they will feel pressure to have to include it.
All right.
It's amazing how they reverse their roles are right now. From
yes, and they're definitely the one going forward that needs it the most with all of their exclusives that were great relatively late at least in this generation.
Yeah. I mean, we got Last of Us still coming, and Days Gone at the end of the cycle, essentially.
Tsushima.
Yeah, I mean,
Tsushima, yes.
This is another topic for another day. But compare the first half of the PlayStation 4 Sony exclusive library to the second half, and it's just completely lopsided in terms of really like you have like what Knack. I always get this mixed up. Is it Resistance or Killzone? Or
Killzone.
It
was
Killzone.
And that's what I mean. Like, this is why it's sort of a separate conversation. But like with generations, should probably be a little bit longer, or because these people obviously like started working on these games and nothing happened.
We lost him.
Right when he comes to good stuff.
When he's getting to his point. Mike, repeat that.
I said just because like everyone started working early in this generation on these bigger games once they understood the hardware, and by the time they're done, you're almost done with the generation.
The console.
Or they might even not have even happened at all, or it'll just be like old by the time it comes out. So that's kind of why I think backwards compatibility, if it was like standardized everywhere, would make the shorter generations. They're not shorter, of course. They're still a little longer than they used to be.
But I mean, they've already introduced the fact, like with these mid-tier, like not mid-tier, but like upgraded. Hey, Pro, we got a Pro on the Xbox One X. Like they've already introduced the fact that a new console's coming out that plays the same games.
Yeah.
So it's already like in people's minds.
Yeah.
They won't even call it a real new console though. That's the thing. And I mean, it isn't in a way.
It'll be called the next generation Xbox, and then the next generation PlayStation.
PS 4.5, Xbox 1.5.
So, all right. So I think that's going to wrap up this topic in this podcast. So it's going to be interesting to see what we get this year, because we're going to get these announcements without a doubt. It's just a matter of maybe we won't get them quite this year. I think we get them at the end of this year, or early next in 2020. But I think it's late this year we get. That's my prediction. I put a prediction out for that.
And releases a console.
What's that? Oh yeah, I don't know. No, not releases. I'm saying we get the announcement. I really think I think we get a March 2020 release for our console. I really do.
No, I mean I totally agree. They have to announce them this year.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying they're getting released this year. I was like, whoa.
No. Announcements this year, release next year. So, all right, that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for viewing. Write us podcast at allgeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allgeek. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching us on YouTube. Coming up is spoiler casts aplenty. We got games to play this year. Keep tuning in. Thank you for a great 2018 again. And we got
our favorites, best of the year, all that stuff coming up soon.
2 weeks, 2 more weeks. We'll be doing that. So look for that. Thanks again. See ya.